Welcome to the Chapter 3 review. As always, press pause whenever you need to write things down and play when you're ready to continue. So we're going to start out with writing phrases as algebraic expressions or equations. Remember, expressions have no equal signs in them, and equations do. So you're looking for the word is, results in, equal to when you're having an equation. So I have 6 inches less than her height. Well, we know less than represents a subtraction problem. We do not know what the height is, so we're going to label that a variable. Does not matter what one. And it's 6 inches less than her height. So since it's less than, we're taking h minus 6. Remember, for less than and more than, it's reversing the order because you're taking that number and you're adding it to the unknown, okay, or you're subtracting it from the unknown. And this is my answer. It's my expression. Part B, the quotient of 56 and a number less 5 is 19. So quotient is division, and I'm dividing 56 divided by a number. And I don't know what that number is, so I'm going to call it n. Less 5, so I'm subtracting 5. Number is represents the equal sign, 19. Okay, when you get done with these, you should always read back through the expression or the sentence and make sure it correlates correctly. Okay, make sure you know what those verbal phrases are and you have them in your notebook so you have them ready to use on the test. Okay, now we're going to solve. Remember, when you're solving, the whole point is to get the letter, the variable, by itself. So I have plus 9. The only way to get rid of plus 9 is to use the inverse of addition. 9 minus 9 is 0, and that's what I want it to be because I want to just be left with the p here. My pen's acting up again. There we go. And now, since I subtracted 9 from the side, I have to do it from the other. When I have negative 4 minus 9, it is the same thing as adding the opposite. So I'm going to put plus negative 9. Negative 4 minus 9, or negative 4 plus negative 9, is negative 15. Remember, you can always check. So negative 15 plus 9, is it negative 4? If it is, then this is your solution. When I'm solving for n, I need to get the minus 1 out of the equation. So to get rid of a minus 1 or a negative 1, I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Negative 1 plus 1, they are opposites. They're going to cancel out, and I'm left with n. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. And once again, you can check your problem. Negative 2 minus 1, does it equal negative 3? Now remember, since I'm subtracting, I'm going to add the opposite. Negative 2 plus negative 1 is negative 3. So I know I did it correctly. Okay, here I have multiplication problems. So I have negative 8 times w equals 72. So the opposite of times is division. And we want to divide both sides by negative 8. And the reason we divide by negative 8 is because negative 8 divided by negative 8 is 1. I'm left with 1w. Come on here, pen. There we go. Slowly. 72 divided by negative 8 is negative 9. And I can get rid of that 1. So I have w equals negative 9. Now we know a negative 8 times a negative 9 would be positive number. And 9 times 8 is 72. So that checks out as well. Okay, for part F, I have negative 12 times r. So I'm going to do the opposite of times, which is to divide. Negative 12 divided by negative 12 is 1, so I'm left with r. Negative 36 divided by negative 12 is a positive 3. Negative divided by negative is positive. Okay, I can check it once again by doing negative 12 times 3. Positive times negative is a negative, and 12 times 3 is 36. Now we get into our two-step equations. And for two-step, you're doing the same processes as you've done before. You're getting rid of the numbers on the same side as that variable using inverse operations. And whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Once again, the whole point is to get y, or x, by itself. So I have 3y minus 12 equals 15. I need to get rid of my minus 12 first. So to get rid of minus 12, I add 12. Okay, opposite signs. Negative 12 plus 12 is 0. I'm left with 3y. 6 plus 12 is 18. Now I have 3 times y is 18, so I'm going to divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so I'm left with y. 18 divided by 3 is 6. And once again, you can plug it in and check. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 minus 12 is 6, so that checks out. On part H, once again, I need to get x by itself. So I have a plus 5 and times 2. You're always getting rid of addition and subtraction first, so I'm going to subtract 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. And I'm left with 2x. 3 minus 5, I'm going to add the opposite. 3 plus negative 5 is negative 2. And then divide by 2 here. And x equals negative 1. So as always, inverse. I subtract because the inverse of addition is subtraction. I divide because the inverse of multiplication is division. And now I'm going to check. 2 times negative 1 plus 5, I want to know, does it equal 3? Well, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 5 does equal a positive 3. So it checks out, meaning that x equals negative 1 is my correct answer. Okay, always check. It's the easiest thing to do, and it's going to save you later on. Okay, we're going to find the missing measure. So for these, the P represents my perimeter, 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. And the A represents area, length times width. So I'm going to plug in what I know to my problem. So I know my perimeter is 56, so I have 56. I have my length, so I'm doing 2 times 21 plus, and I do not know what W is. Okay, so I'm going to simplify. 2 times 21 is 42. Okay, and this turns pretty much into a two-step equation. Okay, so I am going to subtract 42 from both sides so I can get 2W by itself. Come on here, pen. There we go. So I have 2W equals 56 minus 42 is 14. Then I'm solving for W, so I'm going to divide by 2. I'm doing a little space invading here. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I'm left with W. So I have my width. So I have my width, 7 equals W, and it's going to be 7 miles equals the width. And the miles comes from the units that I already know. So for J, I'm doing area, and I know my area is 10.26. I don't know my length, but my width is 2.7. So since it's length times width, I'm going to divide by 2.7. Okay, so I'm going to do 10 and 2600ths divided by 2.7. 2.7 divided by 2.7 is L. So I'm going to do this off to the side. We'll see how much you remember this. So remember that the number on the outside has to be a whole number. So I have 27 divided by 102.6. 27 goes to 102. Let's see, about 3 times. Let's check it out. So 3 minus 81 here. And I get 121. Okay, and I'm going to drop my 6 down. Get rid of this here. 27 goes into 216. I'm going to bring my decimal to the top. Let's try 6 times. 6 times 7 is 42, carry your 4. 6 times 2 is 12,
plus 4, oh, that's not big enough. Plus 4 would be 16, not big enough. So let's keep going up. Let's try 8. 7 times 8 is 56. Carry your 5 over it. 8 times 2 is 16 plus 5, and that's perfect. Okay, so it goes into it 8 whole times. So L equals 3 8/10. Little review of dividing decimals there. Okay, I'm going to graph the equation. So remember, when you're graphing equations, you have to create a chart. Do at least 3 different points. So then you can graph here. Okay, so I have x, y, and then y equals 3x plus 2 in here. I'm going to do 0, 1, and 2. Those are my staples. So I have 3 times 0 plus 2, which is just 2. And my order pair is 0. My pen is just needs some work. Zero, comma 2. Okay, then I'm going to use my 1. So I have 3 times 1 plus 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So my ordered pair is 1, 5. Okay, and then for 2, I have 3 times 2 plus 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And you have 2, 8. So then what you would do is on your graph, you would plot 0, 2, 1, 5, 2, 8, and you've got to make sure that they form linear equations, meaning they form a straight line. Okay, we're going to solve. So when I am solving an inequality, you solve it in the same way you solve an equation. Okay, so I need to get y by itself, so I'm going to do the opposite of minus 4, which is plus 4. And I get 60. Bring my greater than or equal to sign down. That does not change. Get my pen looked at, apparently. Negative 10y. Now I have negative 10 times y. The opposite of times is division. So I'm going to divide by negative 10. Negative 10 divided by negative 10 is a positive 1, so it's y. 60 divided by negative 10 is a negative 6. Now remember, when you divide both sides by a negative number, you have got to flip the sign. And there is my solution. Okay, so solved in the same way as a two-step equation. The difference is I bring this inequality sign down. And then anytime I multiply or divide both sides by a negative number, I'm going to flip the sign. And our last one, we're solving for v. Remember, when you solve for problems like this, you're doing the same thing you would do in a normal equation. So if I want to get v by itself, this is m times v. So I need to get rid of the m. The opposite of multiplying by m is to divide by m. So m divided by m is 1, and I'm left with v. Okay, and big M divided by little m, I cannot simplify any further. So v would just be m divided by little m. Okay, so these are solved in the exact same way as I would solve a one-step or a two-step equation. The whole point is that you're trying to get the v, the letter that you're solving for, by itself. Okay, using inverse operations. You're always using inverse operations. All right, thanks for watching tonight. If there are parts that were confusing to you, make sure you ask Mr. Collier and I tomorrow in class during our review. As always, thanks for watching.